Bring that joy.
In one word, describe the game's hangout.
Vibrant. Everyone's kind of getting along, playing games.
I would be underestimating if I gave it any less than a 10. Right? I've met some fantastic people here today, so it's a 10.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Especially this drink from Court of Cards. Yes, the best drink ever. Passion fruit.
I had a lot of fun. Honestly, I feel I've been in touch with my inner child, which is something I should do more.
Such a different atmosphere altogether. I don't think I have ever been to such an event earlier.
What's your impression of Builders Tribe so far?
Builders Tribe just screams community. It's just for the people.
The way you've managed and organized this event, I'm really impressed because it's something that we haven't done before and we were lacking as a community.
It's a nice community. I love how you came up with the idea to network with a lot of people. Networking, chilling, hanging out, playing cards. I love it. Drinks, especially. I love my drinks.
Community. Coming together. I've met 60 people today, which is really good. And I'm going to take those meetings further. I'm going to just through games.
It is getting interesting, and I think after today's conversation that I had around the table, there's some interesting subject and plan and project coming up.
This tech community is different in terms of the way networking is being happening. There are these young minds behind it, so we get to learn a lot with these guys.
I've been looking for a community such as this for quite some time.
It's a lovely community actually, and diverse. I love that I met some people who work with as mentors in the community, and it's also fun to see some university students joining, so there's a really diverse, let's say, background of people joining all in all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode, or rather, this month's episode of Tech Forward Talks. I hope everyone's excited to be here because I'm excited. We have two amazing speakers today that are going to be sharing with us gems around entrepreneurship and how we can avoid failure as entrepreneurs. So before we go deep into what we are going to be having today, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Builders Tribe. So Builders Tribe is a tech community based out of Qatar, but we service the entire MENA region. So what we do is we bring together people across different demographics, career points, and we bring them together because, you know, we have one thing that brings us together, which is tech, and everyone comes together, collaborates, and we have startups, we have different people, tech professionals, and essentially that's what we do at Builders Tribe. And today you can check us out on our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel since you're here. And yeah, let's find out who are the people that we have with us today and where are you tuning in from. So this is something we do every. Hi Sina, I see you. Oh yeah, Sina is tuning in from Doha. It's nice to have you, Sina. Sina is amazing. Oh, okay. Tennessee, United States. Hi, Temilolua. You're welcome to today's Tech Forward Talks. Ezekiel from Lagos, Nigeria. Very diverse viewership today, and we're excited to have all of you. So, the Gambia. Oh, amazing. That's somewhere I really want to visit. All right. Great. Now we're going to move into the business of the day, and I'm going to introduce two amazing founders. So we have Saleh and Abdulla. They're the co-founders of Flair. And so we have, all right, can we have them come up now? to the stage. Okay, amazing, amazing. Hi, Abdullah. Hi, Saleh. It's nice to finally have everyone here doing this. Okay, great. So to get
We're
this
excited to be
started,
here.
awesome. Okay, so to get it started, I want to ask a very lovely question that Saleh already answered, and I hope he gives the same answer again. So, what's the most adventurous thing you have ever done? We'll start from Abdullah today because I already know Saleh's answer.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Abdulla AlKhenji. I am a serial entrepreneur, as I call myself, and my career started when I was studying in Carnegie Mellon with Saleh and building projects that turned into companies, that turned into startups, that alhamdulillah turned into major investments and a key power in employing engineers, developers, designers, and so on. So um, having won, the most challenging part was actually building a community, and it was tough in the beginning, and I'm very grateful to have Saleh with me as a partner because he appreciates and he agrees with the values. So we've aligned on the values and we built a company around that. And then we said, okay, how can we empower the community even more? So what do we need? And then we realized that the first thing that people need is a place to sit in. So that's where the idea of Flair Business Center came in as a community hub where everyone is united and sitting in one place and working together and collaborating to achieve greater success. So building this was not easy because of the COVID period. It was COVID. We didn't know when COVID was going to end, but it was also a good time to start planning and designing and taking the next step forward. So today at Flair, we've designed it in a way that allows for hybrid working. You can work from the office, you can work online. There are many amazing facilities we have in the office. And more than important than that, we have an amazing community of 40 plus companies working together and achieving greater success. We are honored to be part of this show and we're looking forward for your questions.
All right. Thank you very much for the wonderful intro into Flair. I would say that was my second question. But the first one is, what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Okay, so the most adventurous thing I've done was actually a trip to Oman. And it was a trip of 10 people. And they said, you know what, as soon as you travel out of Doha, you're going to land in Oman and we're going to spend 3-4 days on the top of the mountains. And I wasn't used to this. I'm not usually a hiker and everything, but that was a huge leap for me. And I took that trip. It was a very interesting trip. We stayed 4 or 5 nights in the mountains, and we had to cook our own food. We had to hunt sometimes, but that was the most adventurous thing I've done.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Saleh, over to you. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
So similar to what Abdullah mentioned while starting the university journey, and this was 1 year before Abdullah joined actually, and 1 year before I met him. We were studying in the US, me and a few other colleagues. And being in the US, of course, we had a lot of options for theme parks. So this was some 15 years ago. At the time, I had a fear of heights, and I thought to myself, well, I'm here with all these options for theme parks, and this is a chance to break that fear. So I don't know how I made that decision, but I went bungee jumping, actually. So I think that did break that fear, but I don't think it's an experience I would repeat again. But it was something that, for me, triggered personal perspective to challenge myself. So was pretty adventurous, I believe.
That's amazing. I don't think I have anything that's half as adventurous as the both of you. But one thing I've done that I would say is the most adventurous thing is that I've done a bike trip across West Africa. So on a super bike with a couple of friends. It's pretty interesting. We didn't go too far. We stopped, we did from Nigeria to Ghana and then back to Nigeria. So it was pretty exciting. I hope to bungee jump one day and spend some time on the mountaintop hunting, and making my own food in nature. Wow, Mervy, that's amazing. Great to know. So we're going to move straight into the question for today. And the first one is, what's the one thing you knew before starting your business? So I would like Abdullah to take this first one.
Okay, so one thing we knew was that we are not quitters. We are winners. And failure is only the minute you stop, that's when you failed or learned. So that's something that you can learn. So we took a leap of faith, and we've invested a lot of time and resources into our projects, our hiring and growing our team. And we had a lot of interesting first time trials. So for example, we said, how do we reach a bigger community? So we started going to universities and lecturing them for free on real life entrepreneurship, on entrepreneurs in Doha and how they are navigating the legal landscape, how are they navigating the talent sourcing and talent training. And this experience was it was very interesting because we were also able to pick up on newer trends and newer challenges from these students that we didn't face when we were in college. So yeah, thank
That's quite amazing. So let's switch it over to Saleh. So what's the one thing you wish you knew before starting the business?
I think one thing I wish I knew, or that I would have liked to have known before starting business, is that maybe in reality not many come through with their promised support. Actually, contrary to that, we faced a lot of people that would rather they expect us to support them, even if we were just a fresh startup, while they had, let's say, a bit more experience or a bit more running time, or they were a bit more established. So some would use this opportunity to take advantage, actually. So I personally wish that I would have known that before starting, or in the early days, basically to avoid the interaction there, or to avoid any disappointment that might slow us down.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. So my next question is for Abdullah. Can you walk us through a tough decision you had to make as a founder?
Okay, so many. So a tough decision. So a tough decision is only tough, actually, if you don't take it. So I believe in one thing. I believe that you can either take a tough decision now, and then you will have an easier progress in your business or career, or you can push that tough decision later, and you will have bigger consequences. So one of my mentors I was very grateful for, he was saying that I may be wrong, but never in doubt. So it's fine to make mistakes. It's fine to, of course, if you assess the risks and you know what are the risks involved, and then you do some basic calculations of, if I do this, what will happen? If I don't, what will happen? I had to fire some people. Some people I loved, some friends I knew, some friends I hired, but they went through some personal issues and they couldn't continue delivering the same progress they were delivering before. And of course, we value people more than anything else. and we value input as well because it's business is business. So with that tough decision, what we did is we met with that person individually, and we tried to understand what were the personal things affecting their lives, and we tried to solve whatever we could. But there were some other challenges in his life or their life that we couldn't solve, and that's why they decided to leave, and we unfortunately had to let them go. So yeah, that's the maybe the toughest thing is letting people go, in my opinion.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to piggyback off what you said, where you talked about doubt. All right, so in times when the seasons are actually tough, and for example, in the tough season that you talked about, how did you handle this self-doubt in the tough seasons?
So I'm currently sitting as the Chief Strategy Officer at Flair, and I think that's primarily my job to understand what are the market dynamics happening in Qatar and the region as well. And maybe for our business case, because we are in real estate, so interest rates are they directly affect our core business, and then the time it takes to start a new location, for example. So should we make this decision and expand? What happens if something happens? What happens if a recession happens? And so on. So it's important to understand the risks, and maybe every business is different in their own risks. And you don't have to put the risks in a computable number metric that you can use to assess the risk. But it's as easy as a pros and cons list. Bullet points, 3, what is the ideal situation or solution? And 3, what are the biggest concerns? And I keep saying mentors, and I think everyone should have a mentor on a personal level and as a business level as well. So with Flair, we have some amazing mentors, and we talk to them about interest rates, for example, and real estate challenges. So when it comes to licensing, when it comes to building, constructing, there are many things that could go wrong. So what we did is we worked with the best partner we could. So we found a partner in the contracting field, and we worked with them to design, develop, and build the whole place. And of course, we worked with amazing bankers as well to make the financing journey much easier.
All right, thank you so much for sharing, Abdullah. Over to you, Saleh. So can you give us one or maximum 2 reasons why you think that first-time founders fail when their business is early stage?
I mean, quite evidently from what we see or what we've been seeing at Flair. I mean, we have a lot of startups coming in and joining. Some of them, unfortunately, don't make it, but also in general and all around. I believe the number one reason for startups or companies to fail is really the level or the quality of planning that they've made. So many people miss out on strategizing or planning the execution of their strategy or of their operations in terms of studying the market, studying the audience. Have you really done your homework? Does your idea apply to where you want to apply it? In many cases, founders or entrepreneurs like their own ideas, and they're so attached to them that they don't see how and where they're applicable. And because of that, they miss a lot of what it needs or what it takes to make an idea successful. So in a way, you can call it like an entrepreneur's ego gets in the way of reality. And this is where companies fail. So lack of planning, the lack of relevancy, the lack of strategizing on your idea. Does it apply or not? Have you done your homework or not? I think this is really where ideas fail in their early stages.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. And so back to you, Abdullah. You've talked a lot about mentorship and community. And so can you give us one specific instance where mentorship and community played a huge part in Flair's growth?
Amazing. So in terms of mentorship, a mentor doesn't have to be officially a mentor by a paper or something. So in my humble recommendation is, do you know someone who is successful, someone that you think is successful, and just be a friend with that person. And preferably if that person is older than you, 20, 40 years old than you, maybe an uncle, maybe a partner you've worked with before, someone in your network that will treat you as a son or a daughter, someone who will share honestly the experiences they've had, the good and mainly the bad ones, so that you can avoid them before they even happen. So in our example, we have some of our friends in our network who are also bankers, and they have much more experience than us in the banking sector. So we would go to them to understand, how does financing work? Can we, as a startup, as a new company, get the required financing to do this or not? What is the best way? What is the best? You can always go to a consultant who's going to charge you for a paper that says anything you want, but you might not get the correct answer from a consulting firm that is getting paid by you as a client to get the right answer. And you can, so if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Who do you hang out with? The people who are with you, what do they do? What do they discuss in their gatherings? That will really shape your character and your personality. And it might lead to two things: either to self-sabotage, so in where you destroy your own success, or to success if they are taking you up to the next level.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to take you back to, like, you're talking about success. So how would you define entrepreneurial success from a personal point of view?
So success is, it really depends on you again. So you define success. I would recommend you get a piece of paper and you say, I want X before Y. So I want X amount of money, or X amount of customers, or X amount of whatever success metrics you think is helpful in your case. And then by 2030, by 12 months, in 12 months. So set a timeline, set a time deadline that will push you and enforce you to go and get your targets before this deadline. And if you fail to achieve this target, if you achieve 80% of the target, that means it's a good target. It's ambitious, yet it's achievable. If you achieved 200, 300% of that target, so for example, if I want to get 10 customers and I end up getting 50, that means my target was not high enough and it's not ambitious enough. It's not going to take you to the next level. So since I got 50, my next target would not be 50. It would be 150, for example. And I would try to get, not try, I will work on getting the 150. And if I get 120, 130, then I'm still in a good range. And I could repeat this over and over again. So just like you do it for a personal, so as an individual, you can do your own personal goals, and then you can also do it for the organization. So you and your team, your managers and your subordinates, you have to have a company-wide objectives. And these are your success metrics.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to move over to Stalin now. All right. So the question I have for you is, what are the common misconceptions that people have about entrepreneurship?
I think a few misconceptions is, well, entrepreneurs need all the money they can get their hands on from day one, or all the money they need to make their project successful on the startup. That's not true. I mean, what you need is your idea, and then you find ways to fund it. An idea and a team, basically. So that's one misconception. Basically, entrepreneurship is really for people with money or lots of money. Another one is that success is due to luck. So someone's been lucky. They've had a very nice window into the market where timing was key, and they got lucky. Or someone has an unfair advantage, let's say, compared to everyone else, and that's the only reason they succeed. No, it's not. Luck is part of it. Timing is part of it. But if you don't have a plan, if you don't have an idea, if there's no market to take your idea on, then it doesn't matter. So a lot of these misconceptions, really, the umbrella is entrepreneurship can be easy for lucky people, and that's it. But when you really hear the stories of great successes, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of commitment from a very dedicated team. And maybe that's where people, it's easier to blame, or not to blame, to pinpoint success on convenience rather than hard work and commitment, because hard work and commitment of an entrepreneur is not something that everyone is comfortable with. They are very uncomfortable shoes, and they need a lot of dedication. So that, in my opinion, is really the misconception that it's easy and it's lucky, and being lucky or rich to start your idea.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. So this is for the people live that are watching right now. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, because this is the final question we're asking them, and then we'll take questions from the comments. All right. So the question is, what do you think is the future of entrepreneurship? I'll go with Abdulla first.
Thank you. So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, no one knew what that word meant. Maybe in the US it was more popular to use that word around, but here in the region, a businessman concept was more popular than entrepreneurship. So in the last years, we've seen many mega acquisitions happening in the region, including unicorns, so companies valued at 1 billion plus, and they were acquired by major players in the US. They acquired local companies in the region, in the GCC region, and they have started a huge wave of entrepreneurship support from big entities. And that includes universities. They started teaching entrepreneurship courses. They started changing their final project or dissertation in universities. They've changed it into actionable business ideas that can increase employment and solve real problems in the market. So even we've seen in the region many traditional banks, they were using loans for entrepreneurs, as they call it, and now they've changed this mentality to take an equity stake in these companies, and push the company towards a bigger acquisition, and grow their equity basically in the acquisition. So if you ask me 10 years ago, I would say go have all the meetings with the right people. But today, I think there are many more support for entrepreneurs who are starting an idea with no money, just a good team of founders that are aligned on one problem and are solving it in a very unique way. Entrepreneurs should be very agile, they should be very fast, and they should be faster than the big corporations to solve these problems. And that's why even big corporations, they are supporting startups now, because they want to acquire new solutions, new customers, and even new innovations faster than spending on research and development and spending millions in the lab figuring out what the customers want. Startups have this privilege of being right with the customers, being actually the people with the most pain that can solve problems very fast. And that's how the whole ecosystem works.
All right, thank you very much. Alexa says, reminds me of the famous Seneca quote on the definition of luck. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. All right, so let's take a 30 seconds break before we get into questions. After Saleh answers the same question, what do you think that the future of entrepreneurship looks like?
I mean, you look at the past, and it might give you an idea of where the future is headed, and this is in terms of concept or trends. At some point, there was an industrial revolution, and then 90s came with the internet revolution. Today, we're saying technology and artificial intelligence. So there are always themes where, let's call them new industries or new revolutions, start to slowly reshape the world we live in. Now, currently, technology, artificial intelligence is a big theme. It has been a big theme for years now. We're seeing technology enter to the very small activities of day-to-day lives. And I think that trend is really driven by people generally being less patient, more hasty for quick results. I think we see it in the level of attention spans of people in general. How much focus are people willing to put before breaking? So doing things quickly, so the speed at which things are being done. This is where we see artificial intelligence at ridiculous speeds, writing reports, doing searches, or gathering information. So that's something that saves a lot of time and creates a level of exponential efficiency. That's where we're going at the moment. Now we've been there for a year, 2 years now. Many people already ahead in the game, but it's really how do you solve problems faster than anyone else. I think in the past, a hammer and a nail create a hole in the wall, then came an automatic drill. In the future, who knows? Something simpler, less noisy, cleaner. In the end, you're trying to create a hole in the wall, but who's going to do it faster? Who's going to do it better? That's the general theme. And whether it's technology or industry or internet or artificial intelligence, it's always what can you do better and faster than anyone else. Technology is the theme, artificial intelligence is the theme, and just doing things exponentially faster is really, in my opinion, what everyone is after.
All right, thank you very much for that perspective. We'll be taking our 30-second break now, and when we're back, we'll be taking questions from the audience. See you in 30 minutes. All right, welcome back. We'll be taking questions from the audience now. All right, can we have the questions queued up? All right. Were there times you questioned the entire thing? How did you keep going? Let's have Abdullah. You're smiling a lot, so let's have you take this one.
Okay, because I think Saleh, he knows exactly the story, and I think maybe it was before we. It was the early days of Flair, and before we even signed the big commitments and spend all this money, we had this moment where we said, "Okay, are we doing the right thing? Is this what is needed? Is this what is that and that?" But then we went back to the same problem that united us, was that there is no space right now that is doing this. There is no place that's actually uniting people on one goal or even different goals and working together as a collaborative team. Um, so you will have these doubtful moments, and it's always good to remember, why did you start in the first place? So to answer this, I would recommend, write it down as well. Don't depend on your brain. So write down the purpose of doing your project and the solution, the main problem that you are solving, and then work towards that. Work towards solving, and go back to the problem and ask yourself, is this solving what we are trying to solve?
All right. Thank you so much for that answer. That's pretty amazing. Just Living Life says, please, what advice would you give someone who is planning to open a tech business in Qatar specifically? Over to you, Salah.
Don't do something that everyone else is doing. I think we see a lot of repetitive ideas, maybe because they're familiar. It's just easier to think. But this is a nice spin-off of what Abdullah mentioned. What are you trying to solve? I mean, you really need to ask that question. I mean, one previous question we had is, if you had to give one survival tip to first-time founders, what would it be? To me, the answer to that question is why. Why are you doing this? What's the point? If you answer that question in a convincing way and your answer is consistent throughout, then that is what you really need to stick to do. You're going to have a tech startup. What are you trying to solve? Is what you're trying to solve applicable to Qatar, to the Qatar market? Is it something that works well with the demographics here in Qatar? Are you trying to address a very niche market? Again, you need to position yourself exactly where you would answer your question of why.
And I would like, I agree with Saleh 100%. And make sure that you are not solving the problem for you. Make sure that you work with your customers, give them a free trial for a year, and see how they are using it. Is it really solving the problems? I think it's the best way is to work closely with your customers and take the feedback from them, and then you can develop some features that they will be using.
Yes, don't ever get emotionally attached to your idea if it's not working in the market.
I love that part. Don't get emotionally attached, because you hear stories of founders and entrepreneurs doing one thing for 7 years and it's not working, but they keep going. It's like you need to know when to stop and pivot if you have to. All right. Do we have any other question we'll be taking today? Alexa says, what books, podcasts, or tools have shaped your entrepreneurial mindset and founder journey?
Saleh, you can start.
Yeah.
I think a nice book I have, and I keep it at the office as well, is Ray Dalio's book. So the book is called Principles. So it has a lot of key, let's say, messages, and I just like the way he writes his books. He has, I think, pages on social media as well where he shares these snippets, sound bites, and infographics from his book. It's kind of really reiterating what we're saying. So be focused on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve based on your business idea. So that's one book that I like. I'm not a heavy reader. Never, or I don't say never. I learn more by listening and interacting with others than I do by reading or from reading, especially in
Amazing.
English. I prefer Arabic, but yes.
Amazing. Ray Dalio's book, yes, Ray Dalio speaks about a lot of things, and especially how education leads to technology, and then technology leads to basically exporting technology and economic value. So in terms of books, I three books come to mind. One is called 0 to 1, where they teach you how everyone has shares of the company, and your target is to make the share value from 0 to 1, because 0 times 5 is 0, 0.5 times, but when you start 1, then it multiplies further and further. Another book I recommend is by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and the book is magical it has very simple steps that you can follow to achieve what you really, really want. And it's like a puzzle that you can read, and then you have to figure out what's really important. And it's in the title.
All right. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions that we're handling today? Okay, this one's very interesting. It says, how is it that American investors are willing to invest significant amounts of money based solely on an idea, while investors from other countries, I would say specifically the GCC, tend to be more cautious? Do they know something else? I would like Saleh to take this one first.
Well, first of all, that's the impression that the asker has. And that really stems from the economic culture or the business culture in the US in general, which is a very pure capitalistic approach to investment. Do I like the idea? Do I believe in the idea? Then I want to be the first one to create that value for myself and for the market. So they've gotten into this culture where, in general, in the US, that identity of being let's say a businessman or an entrepreneur or having a startup is to be the first and to be the biggest very fast. As well, I mean, let's not forget what you hear in the news is barely, and I forget the statistics, that it's 0.00 something percent of ideas that you see that reach that level. So there's so many questions, ideas that don't make it. So, and the US is not a small country. So compared to the GCC or Qatar, scale is very different. But in general, there are more, let's say, a bigger risk appetite to be the first, to create something new, to have real innovation, and for that to spread all around the world, so US and the world. In the GCC, for example, I think it's a bit more traditional, historically, trade and barter, and the growth from there is not as fast as what we've seen in the US in terms of innovation, in terms of being open to spending or allocating a lot of your money to an idea that may or may not succeed. So the risk appetite is very different, and that depends a lot on the culture.
I completely agree with you, Saleh. I think the question is maybe misphrased. So I don't think Americans invest more. I think venture capital firms, VCs, have a higher risk appetite. When you compare VCs to mega corporations or sovereign funds, then of course a sovereign fund will be more cautious and more strategic in their investments. and they're not willing to invest in an idea. However, a venture capital firm, usually what they do is they collect some money and they spend this money and they hope 5% or 1% will be successful. So for example, if I wanted to start a VC, I would get $10 million. I would spend it in 20 companies. I would invest in 20 companies. And I'm hoping for one to have a mega exit, a mega success that will cover up the loss of the others. That's how they look at it. If you go to their websites, you will find some key terms that can help you identify the right investor for you. If you have an idea, you're looking for an idea stage investor or an early stage investor or a pre-series A investor. If you are beyond that, if you are revenue making and so on, maybe you want a bigger investor. I want to go back to Saleh's answer as well. So in the US, 400 years ago, 300 years ago, venture capital didn't exist, and it was traditional banks financing manufacturing or factories, industrial factories to support the production of products. But with technology, and especially with the Silicon Valley, the rise of Apple, Microsoft, and these mega companies, they've seen many successful stories such as Instagrams, Facebook, all these new apps coming up, and they've understood the market. So they have the experience, they've been through it, and that's why it's easier for them to invest early as on the idea.
All right. Thank you so much for adding that perspective, Abdulla. We'll be taking one last question to wrap up. And this question is from Mary and says, as someone from a Qatari background, how can we build stronger ties between local talent and the global community? And flip side, global talent to local community. Saleh, please, over to you.
I can see Abdullah smiling already. This is at the very heart of Flair. So this is one thing where we really believe whoever we have in Qatar it's a very diverse scene. And I think one thing that's quite special and unique about Qatar is the balance is quite nice between within the local community. So whether it's the Qatari nationals or the global part of the community or the society, the social mix, it's quite nice and quite balanced. There, you don't see, at least from the startup scene or the entrepreneurial scene, that one is really over dominating the other. No, we have a very nice balance and a very nice chemistry between both. So that's the first, let's say, positive factor that we have. Now, how do we build these ties stronger? I think it really comes to the point where, again, we say, why do I need this talent? What is this talent going to achieve for me? Now, once I answer that question, then I have the talent's attention, whether it's local talent or global talent. If I have that attention, then it's a matter of making sure it's in the right place or in the right industry or ecosystem within the local community. Now, from taking local talent to global community, again, also, this is something that's part of Flair's plans, which is to bridge, let's say, communities across borders and to showcase what kind of talent we have here and hopefully apply it in the future outside of Qatar. You need these kind of bridges and you need these kind of relationships and ties between borders. So we do have a few relationships within the GCC, so regional. But again, we need to build that credibility. We need to build that track record of local talent for us to showcase. And that's how people invest. They need to see results, or they need to see something that they know for sure is right up their alley. And I don't think in Qatar we are there yet, either from finding and growing these talents or from showcasing and making these talents available or making others aware of these talents outside of Qatar. So we need to work a bit on building that fabric or that level of quality within the local community before we start to, let's say, export. And that's really my take on it. So we need to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper in terms of why are we doing this.
So
All right.
adding to Saleh's point, the reason I was smiling is because one of the core things we do at Flair is connecting local talents with international talents. And we have built like a community partnership system where we can work with local companies and international companies to bridge that gap. From the other perspective, we also have companies at Flair that are working with people remotely in many countries and are selling to international customers as well. So you can send us a message at flair.qa on our social media or by email, and we can assist you with further discussion.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone that has showed up today to listen to this great session. I believe that we've all gotten lots of insights from the wonderful Abdulla and Saleh. I've really enjoyed this session. I've taken so many notes. I will come back to watch this over and over again because it's really great to see people that have gone before us. As an entrepreneur myself, I'm always excited to hear all these stories because it encourages and points us in the right direction that we can follow for our businesses. So, quick pointers, please follow Flair everywhere on all social media. So go to flair.qa, visit the website, follow on Instagram, follow on LinkedIn, follow everywhere. And make sure to check out their space too. It's pretty beautiful. Yes. And follow, connect with Saleh and Abdulla on LinkedIn also. They're amazing and they'll definitely accept your connection requests because you are here live. If you come after now, I can't assure anything. But yeah, I think they know all the people that were here. So yes, thanks for showing up, Alexa. Thank you everyone from around the world that showed up today for this amazing session. So thank you so much. This brings us to the end of today's Tech Forward Talks. I hope you've taken lots and lots of insights. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Builders Tribe channel, and we'll see you next month. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And likewise, you guys are doing a fantastic job in uniting the community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Great to see everyone and hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to pass on Flair.
All right. Bye for now.
Thank you. Good.
Okay. Thank you everyone for showing up. Remember, this video is going to be up. You can watch the replay, send it to your friends, your family, and follow Builders Tribe HQ on all socials. We're glad to have you here, and we're glad that you're able to watch this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think the button should be maybe somewhere here. Just click and subscribe. We have lots of things like this coming up. We have lots of events, so go to our website to learn more about us and stay updated on the events that we have. And don't forget, Builders Tribe is coming to a city in the MENA region close to you. All right, bye for now. See you next time.
Bring that joy.